Hey everybody! Today in this video we are going to explain how to get Lightburn communicating with our Aurora. Now, one of the first things that we're going to have to do is make sure that we are on, and there's a few versions of on with this machine, so don't get confused. So the first thing we're going to do is turn our key on. We need to make sure, kind of like in the setup video, that our e-stop is not depressed. You will have 0 lights over here for the on button if it is pressed in. So a quick twist will pop it back out, and now it's on. Now we can see we have a blinking red light. The reason for this, to make sure that we have full power, the emergency switch, the key switch, and the on switch all control power going to the controller. So if we want to communicate with the controller, these things need to be on. As you can tell, when the emergency switch was on and when the on button is not pressed, we still have light. So it sounds like, it looks like it's on, but it's not. It's still in basically a hibernation mode. So now that we have the e-stop on, not activated, we have the key switch on, lights are on, our red dot for our autofocus towards the front side is on. We're going to hit the on button, and now it should be on completely. You'll hear fans kick on, and that basically is letting you know that the controller has power. All of this has to happen for us to communicate with the machine with Lightburn. All right, let's move over to the computer and we will discuss installing Lightburn, downloading it, picking the right controller, and then getting all the information off of the thumb drive so that you have all the correct parameters installed, ready to use. All right, before I hand this over to Chris Myers, that's going to explain using the easy button and importing the files for your new Aurora. If you have a Windows machine, do not plug in the laser to your computer yet. Reason being is Windows tends to try to find the driver for whatever device you plugged in. This causes an issue with the Lightburn drivers. So let's install Lightburn completely first, and then we can plug it in and find the laser. All right, and now I'll hand it off to Chris Myers.
Hey y'all, Christian Thunder Laser here. Wanted to show you how to import the device profile for the easy button for your Aurora series laser. This is very similar to what we did for the Nova, Odin, and Bolt series, just to make life a little easier. So now going forward, as of like end of 2024, we want to use this Lightburn file and not the Mark config files. Things will just import better when we talk in Lightburn's native language. So to get this done, you're going to need the USB stick that came with your machine plugged into your computer, and you're going to need Lightburn, and your Lightburn needs to have a Galvo license. So make sure you've got that entered. You want it to say Galvo under Help License Management. Otherwise, the file will not import. All right. So whenever you boot up Lightburn, if you don't already have a device created, it's going to force you to create one, right? It'll pop up with this device screen that is waiting for a device so that it can configure your workspace or no machine setup. Otherwise, if you already have a device, like I've got this Bolt here, you can just click the devices button and we'll get to the same page. All right, so we're here. Let's get it imported. We click the import button. It's going to bring up your file explorer, either Windows or Mac. You'll go to your USB stick. Should be called Thunder. Could be a different drive letter, but you should be able to get to it. Click through the folders. One should say Aurora, and then communication settings for Lightburn, and then you've got a file. So I'm going to import one for the light. It's a default to 10 lens for that machine. And we select it and click open. Boom, it created the profile, and we'll click OK. Now, what it's created for us is going to be found under the device settings, which is this wrench and screwdriver. And depending on what Lightburn you have, it may be tabbed a little differently. They've changed the layout. But we should be able to look through the settings and see that this looks right. You know, we got our field size. We've got some red dot pointer stuff. We got some timings for our start and end. We don't have a core file yet, so you will need to select one. So click load core file, and then you select it based off of your working space. So a 150 millimeter for this one here. You could also do a 9-point calibration if you wanted to. That's my actual preferred method, but that would be these values here, like scale, bolt, skew, trapezoid, but it will select which axis on the galvo is X and which one is Y, and if they need to be mirrored. Then under ports and lasers, it's going to set up your IO ports. Some of this will vary depending if you have a UV, MOPA, or just a Q switch with a light, but it'll import those for you. And then it'll also set up the source based off what the factory recommends as far as frequency settings, source type, and all that. If you got a MOPA, setting up the Q pulse, enable, and all that. Then under additional settings, these are really left alone. These are just the timings for the preview and don't actually affect how the machine operates. Hope this was helpful. Let us know if you need anything. Support at thunderlaserusa.com.